Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of The Points of Articulation. My name's Dave, and if you're new to the channel, welcome. Today's video, and some more that are coming, are brought to you by my good friend Barb. She went down to Disney World with her family, gave me a ring on my phone, and asked me if I needed any diecast vehicles or figures that are exclusives, and of course, me being me, I said yes. So thank you very much, Barb. Without you, I wouldn't have any of these. So a million thanks. Today we're looking at the Disney Star Tours Starspeeder 1000 diecast car. Released in, well, that's a great question. For the first time on my channel in almost 8 years, I can't tell you when this is from. There's no copyright crap on the item except for Disney. And there's no copyright stuff on the package itself, except that it's owned by Disney. There's no year of manufacture or anything like that, but I think I know why. And it's all about the interesting history that this piece has and what it represents. So let's go all the way back in time. This vehicle was first seen in Disney parks starting in 1987. I know, right? It all began as a ride. In 1987, it opened up in Disneyland, California, and it went for many years. The ship itself was blue and, I believe, white, and it was called the Starspeeder 3000. And everybody went on the ride, and for a time it was good. But in 2010, they closed the ride down to make room for a updated version, if you will. And what we see before us is indeed the updated version. The Starspeeder 1000 for the brand new Star Tours attraction called Star Tours The Adventures Continues. What a mouthful. And that's what we have here. The updated version of the ride's diecast piece. And now I went to Disney World for my high school trip in 2007, and I in fact rode Star Tours. I thought it was a fantastic ride for what it was. Basically, you go through this little walkway and there's droids everywhere, and I was in heaven. I loved it. So basically, you go up to these doors here, you walk into the ride, you sit down, you buckle up, the doors shut, and you go through this little story with this droid who's a pilot, and the whole front is a screen. You see where the ship's flying or parked or going, and the whole ride itself is on pistons. So every time the ship moves, the pistons move, and it gives you this illusion that you're really flying in a craft. And it is awesome. If you could ever get down there, I really recommend it. So you might be asking, why are you telling me all this history? Well, because the original version, the Starspeeder 3000, did have a diecast miniature. Now, I do not have one in hand, but it's basically the same exact thing. And when the ride updated and we had a brand new painted version, well, here you go. So the first time I've seen this, based on my records and all my research, was in 2011, when they sold a 2-pack that had the white version, the 3000, and this version, the 1000. Then again, it was released in 2012, and it's been released ever since. So basically, when was this released? Well, started off in 2011, but I'm pretty sure this is a 2022 or 21 release. There's just no date on it. So, a lot of history for a simple answer. But anywho, this here is an awesome vehicle, and despite my history lesson, some of you out there who are still watching might be wondering, well, was it ever in a movie or a TV show? And the answer is yes. It actually made 2 cameo appearances. The first one was in Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens, in the background of that little trade station on Jakku, when Rey's walking next to that big alien with the big robot arms carrying a sled full of garbage. If you freeze frame, it's in the background in back of a fence. The second cameo was in Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker, as it was one of the fighters attacking the Star Destroyers at the Battle of Exegol. So, pretty interesting stuff. So, enough of the history. We want to know about the diecast model, right? So for the size of this bad boy, it's just over 2.5 inches, or about 6.5 centimeters long. So let's get to the review, shall we? If you're new to my channel, what I'd like to do is go over the mold, see all the fine points on here, zoom in, see what this baby really has to offer. We'll look at the paint, compare it to some other pieces, and then we'll be done. So let's get started. Alright, let's start looking at this mold. So like in all my videos, I will go over all the major sections, and then we'll get a nice close-up look to find those fine details. So, let's begin with going over the main points. In the front, we have our cockpit area. Basically, on the interior of this, it's all open. All the passengers sit here, and then we have a droid pilot in it. If anybody ever saw the episode of Rebels, where they're on something that looks like this, and C-3PO and R2-D2 come aboard, it's the same type of thing. I believe that was Rebels Season 1, Episode 3, I believe, because Part 1 and 2 are like an opener. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comments below, but it's one of the first episodes. But pretty much the same layout that this should have. So, also in the front, we have our lights, which look pretty cool, nicely painted. On the top, we have R2-D2, some beautiful molding back here, leading to our engine section, which starts right at the top, and then goes to the aft. On the sides here are our engines, which looks pretty cool. On the sides, we have our main entryways. All these doors open up, and the passengers or ride goers can go on here through the doors, so that's pretty neat. And that's the same for this side. Pretty nice. And before we get to the bottom, right here, we have a laser cannon, which looks pretty awesome. And that's the same for this side. And then on the bottom, we have 4 wheels, 2 screws, and a lot of detailing. And the only type of copyright crap we have on this whole thing is right here for that code. And you might be asking yourself, does it roll? Let's find out. Yes. So all in all, a really cool looking vessel. So now let's get a closer look. Alright, for the close-up, we'll begin looking at the bottom of the craft, and then we'll work our way around. So on the bottom here, we can see our wheels, we have our screw, and some nice detail in here. I love the little pipes and nice molded sections and little recesses right here. Pretty nice. We can see our laser cannons on the sides, nicely molded, which look pretty cool. They're held together on these little pylons that attach to the side. So pretty nice. And here's the aft section of the bottom. Another screw, 2 wheels, and some nice molding. Not gonna lie, it's pretty decent. For those laser cannons, you can see there is some molding on there that looks pretty nice. And they're not just cylinders, there's different shapes. I think they did really good with that. See a little doodad right there on the side protruding out. Pretty nice. Now getting back to the ship itself, on the back, turning up here, we can see our engines on the sides, which are recessed in slightly. So you can see right there. And then we have the main back of the vessel, which looks really cool. I love the mold in here. Now, the diecast pieces are like an enamel paint. So just like Hot Wheels, everything's sort of rounded. But very nice. I think they did a decent job. Coming to the side, you can see all the line work here. And of course, the enamel paint makes everything rounded. But it works. We have some paneling around each entryway or door. Nice molding on the top going down. And then we have some nice line work coming to the front of the vessel. Now, I really like this. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Look at the other side real quick. Now, mine does have like little pits right here. I believe that's what it's called, pitting. where the paint has these little pock marks. But from a distance, I don't even know. But the molding is awesome on this side as well. A really decent ship. See a little recess right here. It looks like an intake of sorts, which is pretty cool. And coming down the side here. Very nice. Now for the front, this area right here where all the lights are has a little molding. You can see it right there, which is really neat. And then for the front, we have some nice molding and line work. And what I really like about this area is that all this molding looks like armor. You know, basically to protect the transparent steel viewport right here. Pretty nice. But you can see all the detailing on there. The line work on the sides. Pretty neat. Now coming to the top, we have R2-D2. Painted kind of crudely, but from a distance it works. Remember, this is like a Hot Wheels card. It's very small. So the fact that it has like all this paint, it's pretty impressive from a distance. But looking at it close up, yeah, I could see some people might not care for it. But I like it. I think it looks awesome. On the top, you can see all the nice line work. A couple different panels, which looks great. We have our back section. Looks like 2 vents here. Nice paneling, couple recesses. Looking very cool. And I like how it's like a step. It goes down every once in a while. So that's pretty cool. But very nice. Great detailing on this section here. In the back, you can see paneling. And then on this side. Really interesting stuff. Cool looking ship. And that does it for the mold. Hopefully I covered everything. This is a really interesting piece. So now let's take a look at the paint. And now looking at that paint on the Star Speeder 1000, this bad boy has about 11 or 12 different colors. It's got a lot on there. Our main color is a nice maroon and off tan. We have gray, white, yellow and black, peach, glossy black for our transparent steel viewport or windshield, dark gray, silver and blue for R2-D2, and finally light gray. Now yes, there is some pitting on the paint on the left hand side towards the aft going towards the front, but besides that, for all these different colors, I think they did a really good job. And that's everything I have to say about the mold as well as the paint. Again, a very interesting mold, nicely painted. So now let's compare this to some other pieces before we conclude the video. And now for a quick size comparison with the Disney Star Tours Speeder seen in the center. I have it next to some Hot Wheels vehicles. First, on the right hand side, it's not the Back to the Future version, but we have the Hot Wheels DeLorean looking really sharp. And finally, on the left-hand side, we had the Armadillo from the Disney Pixar film Lightyear. You can see how the Star Speeder is about equal to a Hot Wheels 1/64 scale car in size, so it's pretty neat. And that does it for my review today of the Disney Star Tours Star Speeder 1000 diecast car. I had a blast reviewing this bad boy. I know it's just a tiny little diecast car, but the history behind it, its appearances in films, and the different aspects of something that's just an attraction. It's a model of an attraction. Really blows me away. You know, it reminds me of when I started this channel, and in every episode I would give a fun fact. What makes this vessel special? What is something interesting behind the scenes I could tell everybody? And this really brought me back. You know, I'm a history major, so I get a kick out of all this. So I hope you guys found it interesting and liked the review. For the mold, it is fantastic for what it is. All the line works there, R2-D2, the engine section, the front, even the laser cannons. Everything's molded very well. For the paint, we have like 11 colors here working together to really bring this piece to life. And, if you're paying all that money to go to Disney World, shouldn't everything be painted and made perfectly down there? Sadly, it's not always the case. But for this little miniature, I think it came out beautifully. What do you guys think? And that's basically everything I have to say about this Star Speeder here. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, smash that like button. And if you'd like to see new videos every week, subscribe. To all of you out there, thank you so much for taking time out of your hectic schedule to watch my content. I greatly appreciate it and I hope to see you next time. Bye, everybody.